What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video journey episode. Today, very early on, it's not even 6 a.m. I woke up at like 5:15, and I had a dream. And it was an insane dream. It was like two dreams combined as one, Loki. Because it was like, oh my god, today is just gonna be this is just gonna be talking about the dream. I might make another one today, but oh my fucking god. That was insane. It was such a deep dream. And I already let ChatGPT analyze it or give me like the meaning, just interpret it. Oh my god. And yeah, I agree with most of it. So that's okay, let's get into it. First dream started, that was like, FIFA work, like offshore work, really dangerous conditions and shit with a lot of money. I essentially saw an email or an ad or something. I don't know. It was like very dangerous FIFA work. You get paid unimaginable amounts. It literally said unimaginable amounts, but you have to even get to the job site. You have to take two flights. One is like extremely dangerous. The other one you have to fly through like poisonous areas, and you have to wear special suits to get through that. And the other is two boat rides, extremely dangerous. You have to go undercover as well. So like I don't even know. And then I remember seeing that, and within like the next 24 hours, it was like a time skip in my mind. I skipped to being on the boat, like the first boat. So I survived two plane flights. And then I was talking there to the barista and to the people there. They were speaking nonsense. I couldn't understand them. I was like, what do I even do here? And then at one point I realized, well, maybe I shouldn't have done this. It's too late to back out now because like the flights literally dropped me off in the middle of somewhere. They didn't even stop for me on ground, you know what I mean? So yeah, low-key fucked. Anyways, and then I got teleported to the second dream. The second dream started somewhere outside, and I was walking back to the apartment, to the place I was living in, okay? And I kept on getting flashbacks, okay, while I was walking, of how I died while trying to enter my room by a monster, by a creature with like multiple arms. It was bigger than me and it was like weird. I would try to enter my room, and when I opened the door, it hit me with a metal pipe on my head, and then I died. And I kept on getting these flashbacks as I was walking back to the apartment, to the building. It was like, what is this? But like, it was very distinct flashes, and they grew more intense when I was inside of the building. Because you see, then I walked home with some people that I knew, but like didn't know deeply. And I don't know, I was walking faster than them, low key, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to go home. And then in the apartment or in the building, there was like a bar downstairs, and people that I knew, friends, were playing trivia, and also strangers. I don't know why, but they were. So, especially like two people stood out that I spoke to yesterday, I think. Yeah. And I just said hi as I walked by because I wanted to go to my room. So I went there. Then there was a staircase. It was a 5-story building. My room was on the 5th floor. Also really interesting. I would go into the interpretation after I tell the dream. Okay. And then I walked to the staircase, and I could smell blood, and I was like, something's wrong. And then that's where the flashback came in more deeply. It was like, wait, I remember that. And I walked up cautiously. I walked up to the 4th floor. I could see an open door to my left, to the left of the staircase. And I entered, and I was like, yo, do you have anything heavy, anything I can grab? Or a knife? Like, I remember asking for a knife. Didn't answer. The woman living there didn't answer really, or she was, I don't know, stammering. I don't know. So I walked up the 4th stairs. You know how that's like the first half of the stairs, and then the other half, because it was like in circles, you know what I mean? Like Imagine like the staircase goes like, you know what I mean? It goes up. Um, so I walked up the first half of the stairs to the fifth floor, and I peeked up. I could see a body. I could see blood, and I could see my room door being open. And I was like, and then the monster came across, like around the corner, saw me, started chasing me. I was like, fuck. I went to the open room on the fourth floor where the woman was, and I was hesitant. I was like, I need a knife. I need a knife. I was looking for a knife because she wasn't helpful. I didn't find a knife. All I found was books. And I was like grabbing the heaviest book I could find and multiple books, started throwing them at the monster when it came in right after me. Didn't work, obviously. Then I started looking for other things. I saw dumbbells, and then I used dumbbells because it had a metal bar and it had a knife. I used the dumbbells to block that, to not be killed again. Um, and then I remember I had the dumbbells in my hand, I was fighting it off. And at one point, I think I got it to the ground. And I started stomping with all of my might on it. I was like, die, you fucking piece of shit, what the fuck? Why are you killing me? You deserve to die. I don't know. I was killing it. And at one point, I was like, wait a minute, something feels strange. It feels like either the monster has entered me, or as if I have entered the monster's body and I'm killing my real body that I was just in. Like something is weird. And then I receive a WhatsApp call on my phone. I stop stomping. I go. It's a random number, but then the number transforms into a name. It says Cory, like Cori, and I was like, "Who the fuck is Cory?" And then it spoke. The person spoke, and it turned out to be the monster, and it was inside of me. Yeah, or I was inside of it, and that's the way it spoke to me. And I was like, get out of me, you deserve to die, I hate you, and whatever else. And I ended the call and I continued stomping it, but then again the feeling came back. I was like, am I the monster? Like, am I the monster? What happens if I actually kill the body lying on the ground? Will I kill myself? Will I am I in the monster's body trying to kill myself? Did I like swap consciousness? You know what I mean? Am I suddenly actually the monster? And I don't know, like what is going on? I looked, and then I looked at the woman because she was suddenly appearing again, and I was like, "Am I me or am I the monster?" And she just looked worried and she just shook her head. I was like, "What?" And then I was like, yeah. So like, I'm not me, am I? And then I received another call from Cory, and I was again like, "Get outside of me! I hate you! Die!" And then the call, and then the dream ended, and I woke up, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is deep. Has some meaning." So I went to my phone, made this shit into an audio, and then I let ChatGPT analyze it. Then I took the transcript, let ChatGPT analyze it on my phone, but I also have the same ChatGPT account on my laptop. So let me read it out for you. Let me go through it with you, not reading it out. But so, okay, structure of the dream. No, shut up. So, the 5-story building is probably the biggest symbol here. Buildings and dreams almost always represent the self, the mind, your life structure, layers of identity, psychological levels. So, multi-story building usually suggests multiple aspects of self or different social, intellectual, emotional layers. The fact that people live there, you have a room there, there's a public social area downstairs, and danger exists somewhere inside it suggests this is not an external world, it's your inner world. The thing is, I also, because I was logged in on my phone on another ChatGPT account, and it said something similar, a little bit different, but similar. It essentially said there's like the downstairs area, because the bar trivia area, it's social, casual, intellectually performative, trivia, public. You saw people you knew briefly. You don't deeply interact with them. You pass through. This often symbolizes your social self, external identity. Yes. And here, I like on this account, it said, yeah, it didn't go deeper into it, but on my other account, it said something how the 5-story building, it said a bit more how like the fact that my room is on the highest is like symbolizing this is like emotionally deep, my truest self or something like that. Whereas the trivia on the bar at the base floor means this is like, yeah, I mean, same, essentially social, external. It's a very basic level. I wasn't interested in it much. Yeah. Then, as I entered this staircase, I can smell blood. This matters a lot. Everyone is acting normal while you sense something terrible underneath. This can reflect hidden emotional stress, internal instability, feeling psychologically isolated, intuition that something is wrong beneath ordinary life, whatever. The smell is especially important because smell is dream in dreams is primal and instinctive. It bypasses logic. You didn't see danger first, you sensed it. That implies intuition, hyper awareness, subconscious recognition of the threat before conscious understands. Then the thing of I had been killed before the flashbacks. You remember trying to da da da. And then I said spawning outside because it was easier to explain and I didn't want to talk. And it said possible meanings: psychological rebirth, ego death. Part of you may feel like an old version has already died recently, could relate to changing identity, emotional burnout, heartbreak, loss of innocence, becoming more hardened, realizing difficult truths about yourself or others. 2, repeating pattern. The loop suggests this keeps happening. Something repeatedly kills your sense of self. Anxiety, self-doubt, shame, intrusive thoughts, emotional overwhelm, toxic dynamics, fear of losing control. 3, fear around vulnerability. You were killed while entering your room. Rooms and dreams usually symbolize privacy, authentic self, and a self-emotional safety. So the attack occurs precisely when trying to enter your most personal internal space. This can symbolize fear of introspect, fear of being emotionally exposed, something invading your inner life, inability to feel psychologically safe. I don't like this one's interpretation. The other ChatGPT account gave me a better one. I like, I agree with more. If I could fucking remember that, that'd be interesting. That would be good. I mean, it said essentially how you're trying to learn more about yourself, more deeper parts about yourself, and your subconsciousness is restricting it. There's like resistance from it and shit. All right. So, like, I'm trying to know myself more, but there's things inside of me, like trauma or whatever, that are disabling it. And if I think about it, it reminds me sort of I don't remember much from my life. So like currently I am attempting to remember more. I'm trying to get to know myself more. And the fact that I died before entering it might also mean, like, if I think about it, that the monster killed. Like, I'm trying to get know myself more, unlock memories that I have forgotten that my brain has suppressed. What if the monster is like the thing inside of me? Okay, this is fucked up. Oh my god. Yo, I'm getting low-key goosebumps. Shit. What if the fucking monster is stopping? Is my brain that stopped me from remembering it? Maybe for a reason, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, probably for a reason, obviously. And it killed me because it's still the pattern is still there. The because it's something very new that I'm trying to do, and you cannot just remember shit that you've forgotten all your life out of nowhere. Like, it takes time. That's obvious to me. But like, what if that's the thing? The monster is like gatekeeping my deepest emotions, my deepest thoughts, my deepest memories. And I don't remember them. Because also, I remember my room. When I think about it, when I thought about it in my dream, it was very unclear. It wasn't, yeah. So like the space was low-key fuzzy, you know, how when you're in fog, it was very unclear inside of my room though, like in the structure. So, interesting. Anyways, then going to get weapons. Haha. Oh, wait, this is. Here, I need to scroll down because then I clarified how I was looking for a knife, unable to find it because I didn't initially. So, knife symbol was important because it would have represented precision, clarity, control, the ability to cleanly separate self from threat, but you couldn't find it. Instead, you fought with books, dumbbells, random heavy objects, improvised force. You're trying to defend yourself or regain control without having a clean conceptual understanding of what exactly you're fighting. You're using not. I think that's also what a monster represents. It's like a concept, an abstract concept that you don't even know what it is, right? You're using knowledge, books, strength slash willpower, dumbbells, raw effort, throwing anything available instead of precision. The symbolism of the books: intellect, knowledge, identity, narratives, understanding, theories, meaning making. Throwing books at the monster suggests trying to intellectually fight something emotional or existential. I do that. Almost like analyzing it, understanding it, reasoning it, trying to think your way out of it. I do that. I am much more intellectual than I'm emotional. In tune with myself, I would say. But obviously I'm working towards it. That aligns very strongly with the rest of the dream because the entire dream is deeply psychological and self-reflective. You weren't just surviving, you were constantly trying to understand what was happening. It's true. The dumbbells symbolize effort, discipline, endurance, self-improvement, force, control over the body, self. Throwing dumbbells instead of using a knife suggests brute force, resistance. Like, I don't exactly know how to solve this, but I will fight with whatever strength I have. That's desperation, but also resilience. Why the missing knife matters so much? You currently don't feel like you have a precise way to deal with whatever internal conflict slash stress this represents. Just as I said, it takes time to get those memories that my mind has been blocking me from accessing for decades, right? It takes time. So I think you can resist, struggle, endure, analyze, fight, but not cleanly resolve right now. This might be it. The knife would have been decisive. Instead, the battle became chaotic and confusing. The Corey revelation? You intuitively... Oh, yeah, wait. No. Wait, let me go back up. The monster. Here, the monster. The most important detail may have entered your body. This changes the dream from fear of danger to fear of corruption. That's much deeper. The monster likely represents a combination of destructive impulses, fear, rage, intrusive thoughts, shame, disassociation. Dissociation. What is the difference between dissociation and disassociation? I do not know. Self-hatred, emotional darkness, loss of identity, a part of yourself you reject. Not necessarily evil, but unintegrated. We got it. The name Corey, the fact that the WhatsApp caller ID says Corey, means your mind was trying to personify the thing. And WhatsApp is important too because it symbolizes connection, communication, direct contact. The monster doesn't speak normally, it calls through you through technology. It calls you. Here, that's also... Phone calls and dreams most often represent messages from the unconscious, intrusive thought. It's internal communication, confrontation with hidden truths, contact between separated parts of the self. And WhatsApp specifically is interesting because it's intimate, immediate, personal, modern, conversational, not supernatural, not mystical, familiar. That makes the horror worse. I'm getting goosebumps again. The darkness isn't some distant demon. It's communicating through your own internal communication systems. Yes. Then you're... Crazy. Am I me? Question mark. This is the emotional center of the dream. This is not fear, not a fear dream anymore. It wasn't a fear dream. This becomes an identity dream, yes. You ask, am I me? Am I the monster? Whose body is this? Am I killing myself or him? Classic symbolic material for identity instability, dissociation, inner conflict, shadow confrontation. Not in a you're crazy sense. Cool, thanks, bro. More like part of your psyche is wrestling with another part so intensely that the boundary blurs. This often happens during periods of major growth, emotional stress, self reinvention, suppressed anger, loneliness, intense self analysis, conflicting values, desires. The woman's reaction: you ask the woman, "Am I me?" And she looks worried and shakes her head. This is chilling because dream figures often represents part of your own intuition. Her response may symbolize fear that you're losing touch with yourself, awareness that you're changing, uncertainty about your identity, recognition that the darkness has partially merged with you. But importantly, she doesn't attack you. She looks worried. This suggests concern, not condemnation. Yeah. Trampling the body. One of the darkest symbols. You're trying to destroy the monster, but don't know if the body is yours. This suggests fear that destroying the bad part of yourself, bad part of yourself, bad part of yourself may also destroy part of you. This is deeply connected to shadow psychology. What the fuck is shadow psychology? I'll look into it after I'm done with this. Sometimes the traits we hate most: anger, ambition. Why would I hate ambition? Sexuality, aggression, emotional intensity, pride, vulnerability are actually parts of ourselves we haven't integrated properly. Yes, I agree. So the dream asks, if I destroy this darkness completely, what happens to me? Yes, yes, yes. The possession theme. Possession elements usually symbolize emotional overwhelm, intrusive thoughts, losing control, identity confusion, fear of becoming someone you dislike, fear of your own darker impulses. Your reaction matters. You resist the entire time. You repeatedly say, "I hate you, get outside of me, you should die." This means your core self is still fighting for autonomy. Yes. Why this dream felt so real: strong sensory details, smell of blood, body confusion, physical combat, phone calls, identity confusion, false memory structure. This happened before sensation, dissociation like mechanism, not knowing whose body, who's speaking, who's controlling, creates panic. So the deepest interpretation, at the deepest level, ChatGPT thinks the dream is about a confrontation with a feared part of yourself. Not necessarily an evil part, but a powerful, emotionally charged, possibly suppressed part. Yes. And a terrifying realization: what if this thing isn't separate from me? That's the central horror of the dream. Not death, not the monster, integration. Yep, that is fucking scary. The possibility that the aggression, darkness, fear, rage, instability, obsession, pain isn't foreign. It's yours. And your psyche is trying to figure out whether to destroy it, reject it, suppress it, or understand it. Yep. One more important thing. The dream ends with you rejecting the entity, you, and waking up. That matters. You did not surrender. You did not fully become it. You did not lose yourself completely. The dream ends at the point of resistance. That usually means the dream is still actively processing the conflict rather than being consumed by it. This means people who have this kind of dream during periods when they're changing rapidly, questioning identity, becoming more self-aware, dealing with stress, or confronting emotions they normally intellectualize instead of fully feeling. And I clarified, I also said I intuitively knew that it was the monster, like before that spoke to me the first time on the call. It says it was about acknowledging something you already sensed. A fear you already know exists, emotional tension you already fear, a part of yourself you already suspect is there, unresolved internal conflict, awareness of psychological change. The dream progression is subconscious recognition and then conscious confrontation. Resisting also matters enormously because many possession type dreams end in surrender, paralysis, or assimilation. Yours does not. Your identity becomes destabilized, but your will remains active. That usually indicates strong self-preservation, resilience, refusal to psychologically collapse, determination to remain autonomous. Wouldn't it be autonomous? Is this a mistake that should do? Well, whatever. Even while deeply confused. Yes, this dream feels something like something inside of me feels foreign, dangerous, and or uncontrollable. I'm trying to understand whether it is invading me or whether it has always been a part of me. Much deeper, much more existential. Yes. So yeah. Now what is shadow psychology? Shadow psychology. Term in Jungian psychology. Oh, so it's dreams thing. The shadow. Okay, wait. In analytical psychology, the shadow psychology is an unconscious aspect of the personality that does not correspond with the ego ideal, leading the ego to resist and project the shadow, creating conflict with it. The shadow may be personified as archetypes which relate to collective unconsciousness, such as the trickster. Carl Jung, yes. The repression of one's ID, while maladaptive, prevents shadow integration, the union of ID and ego. Okay, wait. SAP, how do they define it? In Jung's model of the psyche, there are various personified structures. Two of these, the persona and the animus, are relational. The ego, which is primarily body-based and may be understood as the executive part of the personality, stands alongside the shadow, and these two are to do with our identity. The shadow and the identity. The shadow is that hidden, repressed, for the most part inferior or guilt-laden personality, whose ultimate ramification reach back into the realm of our animal ancestors. The shadow was the source of evil. It can now be ascertained and closer investigation that the unconscious man that is his shadow does not consist only of morally reprehensible tendencies, but also displays a number of good qualities such as normal instincts, appropriate reactions, realistic insights, creative impulses, etc. Shadow's potential. A person might believe that to be assertive is to be selfish, so he goes through life being pushed around by others, deep down seething with resentment, which in turn makes him feel guilty. In this case, his potential for assertiveness and his resentment both form part of his shadow. Analysis might challenge his value system, blah blah blah. Personal and collective aspects. At the top is the personal shadow. It may feel rather black, formless, or underdeveloped, so as unwanted and disowned. As we have seen, whilst it may feel like a cesspit, what is a cesspit? It can also be a treasure trove. Below this, but not divided, is the collective shadow. It's like the personal shadow. It will be in part culturally determined. It consists of that which opposes our consciousness, share our collective values, for example, female. But okay, the shadow and the evil. Where we find the deepest part of the shadow, where we find manifestations of evil as a dynamic in the world to which we need to relate with collective guilt, responsibility, and reparation. Privatized water, the arms. What? Shut up. The shadow and projection. Projection onto some other individual, family, group, etc. This is something I do not like. This tends to keep happening. So it's like usually the shadow is encountered in other people. So like you see that in other people, you see, for example, greed in other people. You're like, oh, I don't like being greedy. I don't like greedy people. And then at one point, you might start to realize, oh, I am actually also greedy. I struggle with this. And yeah, these projections can be onto external others or onto internal dream figures or both. Okay, whatever. It seems that's about it. So interesting. Shadow psychology is essentially the part of the brain which is like different from the ego, but it's also part of the identity. That's really interesting. Okay. Wow. Okay. Damn. But I kind of rambled. I went through that shit, but like, oh my god, what a fucking dream. And like, whoo, 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 this is interesting. This is exciting actually because doesn't that mean if I kill the monster, I will be able to enter my room? Because like or also interesting that there's layers. Does that 5 layers represent something? Does that oh well that's just random, but does it represent Maslow's hierarchy of needs? I don't know if you know it, it's also five. It's like existential, which is also the lowest level, and then the highest level is like self-actualization. So also represents the deepest part of I don't know. That would be interesting. Well, that's an interesting guess, I guess. But what matters is I was trying to enter the deepest part of myself. And also, what does actually, let me ask this ChatGPT, what does, why was the room on floor 4, the room below mine, open? And why did the woman disappear when the monster came and only reappeared when I stomped on whosever body it was on the ground? Question mark. Okay. The 4th floor, room below yours. So upper floors, higher awareness, identity, ideals, conscious self. Lower levels, deeper emotions, instinct, unconscious material. So what the fuck is you yapping about? Didn't you just say lower floors mean fucking more basic? Whatever. I fucking hate AI for that. So your room being above hers suggests your main identity or conscious self exists at a higher, more controlled level, while the open room below is a more vulnerable, emotional, or subconscious layer. Her door was already open, it was accessible, an emotionally exposed or unguarded psychological space. Your own inner room was inaccessible, but the lower room was open. Retreat into a more primitive survival state. Instead of clarity, identity, safety, stable selfhood, you entered a more instinctive survival layer. Heavy objects, improvised weapons, brute force defense. The lower room became the emergency survival part of the psyche, not refine, not fight with whatever have. Interpretation 2, the open room represents emotional accessibility. The woman's room may symbolize emotional intuition, vulnerability, subconscious awareness, or a more emotionally grounded part of yourself. True, because it was also a woman, that would make sense. Its openness contrasts sharply with your room's danger. Your room, guarded, associated with death, inaccessible safely. Her room, open, sheltering, temporarily protective. That suggests you could access emotional instinct more easily than stable identity at the moment. Why was it below? So you didn't go higher for safety, you went one level lower. Descending into deeper unconscious material, I don't think so. Why the woman disappeared? Woman seems to represent grounding, witnessing reality, intuition, human connection, emotional clarity. Possibly your ability to reality check yourself. She is present. Notice she is present when you are, but disappears when the monster fully enters the situation. That suggests the monster's arrival overwhelms or suppresses whatever she represents. That's interesting. That sounds interesting. She reappears only when you're stomping the body. She returns when violence peaks, identity confusion peaks. You question whether you're killing yourself. You ask, am I me? That timing is probably not accidental. She functions as the observing conscience or reality-checking part of your psyche, most likely. She reappears when the moral/identity crisis becomes unavoidable. Almost like the moment you risk fully losing yourself, awareness returns. Okay. Her worried expression, even you don't know whether you're the victim, the monster, or both. Her reaction may symbolize your own intuition, recognizing that the boundary has become dangerously blurred, not necessarily you're evil, more like something is very wrong with your sense of self right now. You ask her whether you are yourself. That means some part of you needed outside confirmation. Tell me I'm still me. That's deeply human. Damn, that's actually fucking deep. Damn, that is actually fucking deep. And her uncertainty may symbolize fear that you're changing, you don't fully recognize yourself, or some internal conflict is destabilizing your self-image. What's striking is how psychology consistent dream is. Psychologically, social surface downstairs, hidden blood scent, inaccessible troll room, descent into lower open room, improvised weapons, confrontation, invasion, identity collapse, loss of grounding, return of witness intuition, fear farming, self-will destroying darkness. It's not a random dream chaos. Your mind built a very structured symbolic narrative. Yep, that's why I'm asking you to analyze. Didn't you just say the lower floors are the more external, more basic parts of myself, whereas the higher floors represent deeper, more truer parts of myself? Why did... Question mark? I just said that. Good catch. Actually, two common symbolic system for buildings. Framework 1, higher equals conscious, aspirational, lower equals unconscious. Framework 2, higher inner private, lower external social. So, basement / lower levels, unconscious, instinct, repression, middle floors, everyday function, and upper floors, intellectual ideals, identity, perspective. Under this framework, your room being above her suggests your room is tied more strongly to your conscious identity, self-concept. Moving into her room would mean moving into a more instinctive, survival-oriented, psychological space. This fits because deeper identity confusion happens after descending, combat becomes more primal, monster merges with you afterwards. Ooh, yes. Yes, that was the worry in my dream, if the monster is part of me, and it probably is. Framework 2, higher equals inner, private, lower, external, social. In this version, public life, lower levels, social interaction, privacy, intimacy, true self. Your dream also partially uses this framework because social trivia bar environment is downstairs, personal room is upstairs. So dream combines both systems simultaneously. Okay. I wasn't saying lower floors are always deeper, truer than the higher floors. The room below yours, I meant within the movement of the dream, going down one level, represents movement away from your stable, private identity space and toward a more raw survival emotional state. Okay. I guess I understand. So, the key symbolic point, you could not safely access your own room. That's the core detail, yes. Another interesting possibility. The room below yours may also symbolize a neighboring version of yourself, not fully you, but adjacent to you psychologically. Which could fit later themes, whose body am I me, identity blurring. Interesting. What a fucking dream. What a way to start my fucking day. I've been journaling about this dream. It's 6:30. It took me like a few minutes to write that down, or like to make an audio about it, because I redid it as well. And then essentially I've been analyzing the dream for an hour. What the fuck? Today is gonna be a long day, I fear. Oh my god. So, well, so much to the dream. Interesting insight into me, I do have to say. Very interesting insight. Fuck. Oh, okay. Well, most likely gonna video journal at a later point today. But if not, whatever. I'll see you in the next one.